Right. So today we are going to discuss about constructor. Okay, last class we discussed about classes and methods, right? Methods already we discussed. There are two types of methods we have: wide and non-wide method. When we are going to use wide method, when we are going to use non-wide method, already we discussed with examples. And yesterday we discussed about class. What is the class? How it is defined as a it is a user defined template. How we are going to execute the class, how we are going to write the class in Salesforce, and how many ways we can execute the class. Just some theoretical part and some practical discussion also yesterday completed. Now today we are going to discuss about constructor. Okay, so what is constructor in Apex? So generally what constructor will do? Okay, see, constructor and method both are same. Constructor also it is kind of method only, but it is a action. Whenever page loaded, automatically constructor it will load. No need to call manually. See, if it is a method, we need to call that method, then only it will execute. Other, but constructor not like that. Whenever you can call the class, automatically constructor whatever you return logic inside the constructor, it will execute before page load. Okay, so before page load, do you want to perform any data updation or any data loading or something, then we can use for constructor. Example, if you go to here, see, if you open any website, simply you can open Flipkart. Okay, if you click on Flipkart here, automatically application is opened. When open the application, automatically see now one pop-up window it will come, and some data automatically it is populated. We are not going to click any button, right? Just simply I open website. Whenever open the website, some preloaded functionalities automatically it is loaded. So how it is loaded? So how the data is loaded as soon as page is loaded? So that is defined inside the constructor. Anything required apart from default values. See, suppose I want to check mobile. If you click on the mobile, then only the mobiles are opened in Flipkart, what mobiles are they going to sell. Okay, so now some action is performing manually, that is something like a method. Okay, so whenever page is opened or whenever page is loading, any predefined values are updated without clicking any button or without clicking any action. That is defined inside the constructor. Why? Because when page is loading, automatically the predefined values also it will load based on the page load. Okay, so if it is a method, any logic you written inside the method, you have to click on either, you have to call that method, then only the logic it will execute. That already yesterday we discussed about method, right? Class and method. Let's see one more time difference between constructor and method as well. But when you write the constructor, you have to follow some constructor related properties. What are the things? It is also method. It is a method. It is a method defined defined in the class. Okay, and constructor name and class name must be same. Okay, so if you define in your constructor, the constructor and class name should be same. Always should be same, not must, should be same. And here, this is used to initialize the data. Initialize the data members. Data members means when page is loading, do you want to display any data or data members or something, then we can initialize inside the constructor. Okay, and not have any return type, not have any return type. Return type is not accepting constructor, because of we are not calling any manually, right? So that is a make sense, right? Anyway, constructor, if when you are expecting return value, if we are calling the method, if you want to store any data, once the method logic is executed, do you want to return any value from that particular method, then you can use for return statement. That is a non-void method. But constructor, we don't have control to execute the constructor logic. Automatically it will execute. So how we are going to return some value? It's not possible. Okay, so that is the reason constructor not have any return value. Okay, and it is automatically triggered when page is loading. when page is loading, that is page or class or whatever. When object is created or page is loading, or sometimes maybe object is created. Object is created means that is a class execution. Okay, this one. Let's see syntax of the constructor. Just now we discussed, right? Public class, class name. Inside the class we are going to use constructor. How to use? Public class name, that's it. We are not going to use any wide method, non-wide method, not like that. Okay, so simply like this you can define the constructor. Constructor class name should be same for both class name and constructor name. Okay, constructor name and class name should be same, then only we are calling as a constructor. And here, do you want to return any string value or something? It is not accepted because of constructor is not having any return type, return statement it is not allowing. Why? Because we don't have control to execute the logic whatever initialize inside the constructor. Okay, let's see one example. So before going to discuss example, constructor having two types. One is normal constructor, normal constructor, and one more is parameter constructor, parameter constructor. So parameter constructor. What is normal constructor and what is parameter constructor means? Above one is the normal constructor. We are not passing any parameter inside the constructor. If you want to pass any parameter, yes, you can pass the parameter like string, ABC, etc. Like this, you can pass the parameters as well. Let's see one example for normal constructor and parameter constructor. Go to developer console. Go to the developer console. Open as a tab. Now close this class. So now go to new Apex class, constructor, or use CTOR constructor example. Click OK. So this is the class name. Again, I'm going to create public class name. Okay, just click on save. This is normal constructor. We are not going to use any parameter, or we are not going to pass any parameter inside the constructor. Okay, so do you want to see? Simply I'm going to use account. Just I'm going to use list of accounts equal to. So this is logic I'm going to, otherwise not required. You don't have knowledge and collections, right? Simply I can put for system.debug. I am a normal constructor like this. Okay, like this you can put. And do you want to define any value? String name equal to Raju. String city equal to Bangalore. Okay, if you want to print this value, system.debug, name of the student is, we can pass name value. So here, if you want system.debug, city is city. See, always I'm using this type of characters. If you want, you can change as well. So generally I'm using like this, but if you want to change any special character like percentage symbol, that also you can use. Whatever you want, you can use inside the constructor. Just identification purpose only, we are adding some static test value. Now click on execute now. Save. This is the constructor, normal constructor, class name and constructor name should be same. There is no return type here. See, if you want to check, just I'm going to check string. Let's see, return name. Let's see, save now. So it is saved. Generally, it is not having return statement. Maybe it is considered as a non-static method. Okay, so no need to use like this. Okay, let me save now. It will execute now. See, constructor must not have return value. See here, that is the error. See, if you mention here string value, that is the non-void method, right? It is system is accepting. But if the constructor want to return any value, then it is not accepting. Constructor must not have any return value. That is what I mentioned in document. Save now. Once save, how we are going to execute the class? Just how we are going to execute the class? Yesterday already we executed this class, right? Just remove. First we need to create a initialize the class. How to initialize the class? Class name CLS equal to new class name. I'm not going to execute this method. I'm not going to execute this constructor. What we discuss now, see here, last point, what is that? It is automatically triggered when page is loading or object is created. Now the class object is created here. When execute this class, let's see whether this constructor will execute or not. Click on execute now. It is executed without any error. Click on debug only. See now, whatever there inside the constructor, automatically it is executed. See line number 4. What is the line number? I am a normal constructor. The value is printed. Name of the student and city is Bangalore. This is something like normal constructor in Salesforce. Hope you clear. Any questions? Clear? Suppose I'm going to use the method public void call me. Just simply call me. This is the method. Okay. Same method. What I'm going to use? I'm going to use these parameters. Okay. Raju hyphen 1 2 3 4 5 and is Chennai. Chennai. Let's see whether it will execute or not. This is method. Method. Save now. Now we can execute this class. See, now I'm not going to call this method. What we discussed just now, constructor, it is automatic, it will execute when page is loading. That already done. We tested, and whenever you execute this class, automatically the constructor is also executed. Now, I'm not going to call this method. Let's see this method, it will execute. Click on execute now. It is executed without any error. Go to the debug only. So is there any executed? Only line number 5, 8, 9 only printed. 5 number is system.debug statement inside the constructor and 8 or 9 is executed. Why this method is not executed? Because of this is the method. It is not executed by one. You have to call manually or you have to execute by yourself user. Then only it will call this method. How we are going to execute? Same story. Class dot call me. Now we can execute now. It will execute both the methods. Now go to debug only. See now. Line number 589 also printed and Raju 123 Chennai also it is printed for because of this method also it is executed. This is difference between constructor and method. Constructor and method. So suppose can you call the method inside the constructor? Yes, we can call inside the constructor as well. So just call me. Save now. Now, I'm not going to call this method directly. So suppose I'm going to execute only for constructor. I'm going to highlight it, just I'm going to execute highlighted, means only the particular piece of line I'm going to execute. I'm not calling this method. Click on execute now. Go to debug only. See, all the code is executed. Means, do you want to execute this method inside the constructor? Do you want to execute some of the methods when page is loading? What you have to do? First to define the constructor, and inside the constructor you can execute what type of methods do you want to execute before page is loading when object is created. Okay, so that also it is possible. We can execute the method by using manually or by using based on user requirement. Otherwise, when page is loading, when constructor is calling, do you want to execute same time any methods, then we can use for method you can define the method inside the constructor, means you can call the method inside the constructor. These many ways we can execute the method. Okay, hope you clear. What is normal constructor, what is method, what is difference between constructor and method? Again I'm telling, difference between constructor and method is constructor name and class name should be same, but method name and class name It's may be or may not be. We can use always different name of the method name. And also constructor, it will execute automatically when page is loading. Method, it is not executed by own. You have to execute method call manually, or maybe if you want to execute during the constructor execution, then we can call that method inside the constructor. Okay, so these are the difference we have in constructor and method. Any questions here? Clear? Clear? How many ways you can call constructor, a method, and how to execute method inside the constructor, or how to execute method separately along with the constructor? Hmm? Clear? This is. So if you are, I'm going to comment this code. So then you are executing this code. So method also called and constructor also called. Do you want to execute only class? When executing the class, do you want to execute any method? Simply define a constructor. Inside the constructor, you can call n number of methods. But based on the requirement, you have to choose when we are going to trigger this method. Either we are going to trigger this method separately after page is loading, or during the page load process, do you want to execute some of the methods, then only one of the option called constructor. Okay, hope you understand. Clear team? Constructor. Shall I go with parameter constructor? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any difficulties, please let me know. Okay, if I'm going fast also, please let me know so that I'll go slowly. Same class, I'm going to remove this method, not required. Simply what I'm going to use, I can pass the parameter constructor. Means parameter constructor is nothing but sometimes we need to pass the values, something like string name, comma, string city. So if you want whatever details you want, we can provide. So now here what I'm going to use, simply I can pass the name and simply I can pass the city. So this is something like constructor. Save now. So whenever using, so we can use for std name and the same name don't use. So that is one more we have. Let's see whether it is possible or not. Save now. So now remove the call me method. We don't have, right? Just say. This is the parameter constructor. Okay. See, when you are executing class, previously what we are doing, so just we are executing the class. We are created instance of the class, then it will execute. Now we can same we can do for execute this class, it will get error. Why it is get error? Constructor is not defined. Why it is not defined? Because of constructor is expecting some parameters. We have to pass the parameter value. Then only it will execute, right? Constructor expecting something, then only it is passed, it is executed. Then how to pass the data? Where to pass the data? Can you pass the data inside here? Yes. What is the name? Name is string, right? Just pass Nagraj and city is Hyderabad. Just execute now, it will execute now. See, without any error, it will execute. See now, name of the student is Nagraj, city is the Hyderabad. This is how we can pass the variables inside the constructor based on parameter. Constructor will take the parameters what user is passing, and once you take the parameter, then only it will print the or it will execute inside the constructor. That is difference between parameter constructor and a normal constructor. Okay, we can pass parameters inside the constructor, or without parameters also we can execute the constructor. Based on requirement, you have to choose which constructor it is required. Hmm? Right. I will give an assignment. Create a class. Create a class with the student information. Student with data members. Data members as a name, phone number, phone number, age, and assign the values in constructor. 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 And also next requirement is same requirement, create a method called show method and print the values. Let's do it this one. How to do this one? We can check. Okay. So what we need to do? First, to create a student class with the data members. Means we have to declare as a name, phone number, age as a global variables, and whatever assign the values in constructor. Means you can assign these values inside the constructor and you can print the value. Okay. Either you can create a method to show and we can print the values. Okay. Here this requirement, you have to declare the global variables, you have to declare the parameter constructor to pass the data, or maybe you can assign any values inside the constructor, and also you can print the data by using show method. Okay, so that how we are going to do, you can execute. If you have any doubts, I will explain later. Just at least try to execute this scenario. Already you know what is method, already you know what is constructor, already you know what is local and global variables, right? So I'm going to give one more assignment. Assignment 2. Create a class. Create a class. Employee. Class name is employee with name, experience, salary, and city. Okay. And same requirement. Create a constructor, or use city or constructor which will which will take employee name, employee experience, employee, what are the employee salary, and employee city. Okay, as a parameter. This is also parameter, and assign the values. And also one more, create a method. Calculate salary based on below condition. What is the condition? If city is city is Hyderabad, and experience is more than 5 years, then salary is 50k, 50k, else 30k. Okay, this is if, and the print the output of the salary. What is difference between above and below? Below means almost the defining of logic is same for assignment 1 and 2, but only thing is assignment 1 there is no any conditions to check. Assignment 2 you have to check the conditions. In this assignment you can get to know how to define the methods, constructor, variables, if conditions, and how to print the value. Okay, once you practice these two scenarios, then you can understand how to define the text class, methods, variables, data types, debug statements, how to use if else conditions, everything you can get to know. Okay, right. Can you do this? Yes, Tara, can you do this?
Yes, sir, will do.
Right. So before going to discuss about collections, okay, collections are very important in Apex. Okay, before going to discuss, so there is one more method we need to discuss. There is static and non-static methods. Okay, once these two things are completed, then we can go for collections. What is static method? So static method is nothing but, so we are not going to change any value during the execution. During the execution, whatever value initially you declared, same value it will consider during the execution. No need to create any instance of the class while executing static method. Okay, instance of the class means no need to allocate any memory of the static method. Okay, simply I can say that static method is nothing but it's kind of global variable. What is global variable? If you declare the any value in globally, that value throughout transaction or throughout execution, that value is same, right? So same like static method also, no need to create any instances, no need to create any in, instance of the object. Okay, instance of the object or initialization, this one. Okay, so its value is not changed during the execution. Let's see one example. Go to Salesforce. Simply what I'm going to do, cancel this one, go to create apex class. Okay, static example, enter. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to define public static void void create account. Just simply I'm going to mention create account. Okay, this is the method. You can save now. How we are going to define whether method is a static method or non-static method means this is the static method. Okay, so if it is a non-static method means if we are not using static keyword, then that method is nothing but a non-static method. Okay, if we are using static keyword, that method is nothing but a static method. Let's see what is difference between static and non-static method. I'm going to create account record, account ACC, new account, new account. Now, control Z, right? ACC dot name equal to static account. Static account. Simply, I'm going to insert ACC. I'm not going to pass remaining parameter. Do you want to pass any parameter? You can pass. ACC dot rating equal to cold. And do you want to pass any ACC dot description? Description equal to record is created from static method. Okay, so this is something like a static method. Previously, how we are going to execute the static, how we are going to execute this method? First, what we need to do, we need to create an instance of the class. How to create instance of the class? Class name variable equal to new class name. Okay, now so how we are going to execute the method? Class dot method name, right? Method name, copy this method name, and this is not a parameter method. Simply we can execute. Let's see, will execute this code or not. Click on execute now. See here, static method cannot be referenced from a non-static constant context. Okay, so static method, no need to create instance of the class. Whatever method you defined, this method is static during the execution, the values are never changed. So how we are going to execute static method means simply we can use class name dot method name. That's it. So no need to create any instance of the class. Directly we can use class name dot method name. We can execute for static classes, static method. If it is a non-static method, then you have to define the instance of the class, because we have to allocate the memory for that class. If we are using static keyword, automatically it will allocate some memory itself for static variable, and during the execution, whatever data you stored into that memory, it's never changed. Okay, so that is something like a static method. Simply static method, no need to create any instance of the object. Directly we can execute the method by using class name dot method name. How to execute the static method? Simply we can execute class name dot method name. That's it. If it is a parameter, we can pass the parameter, otherwise not required. So go to execute this class. See, it is executing without any error. Go to Salesforce, click on account, Go to all account. See already, if you click on account, static account is created. Open the static account. See this account record is created from static method. Values are populated. Okay. So this is how we can execute the static method in Salesforce. Hope you clear what is static and static method. Okay. So how to execute static method? Simply class name dot, sorry. Okay, again it is refreshed. Anyway, control E, account, not this one, right? It is refreshed actually. Simply I can mention here only. How to execute this class? Class name dot method name. Copy this method. We can use static method parameters also. So static method it is supported for either wide method or non-wide method. Anything it is supported, and also we can pass the parameter inside the static method. If you want to pass any parameter, we can pass the parameter as well. Okay, this is example for static method. Same non-static method, same story. So go to here, open same class, open the same class. Where is the static example? Open. See, this is the static method, right? Static method. Now, same class, same method, I'm going to use create new account method. I'm going to use, I'm going to remove the static keyword. This is something like a non-static method. Non-static method. So, how to execute static method? Above method, how to execute? Just simply here only I can mention execute equal to class name dot method name. That's it. Okay. Now how to execute this class? Same story. This is non-static account. This is account 2. Okay. So record is created from non-static method. If you want to change, you can change the values. Save now. So again, I'm repeating static method. Simply we can identify it based on the static keyword. Non-static method, if you are not mentioned static in wide method, then we can consider as a non-static method. Default methods are non-static only. If you want to particularly to execute non-static method, then we can execute static method. Then you have to define static. Let's execute this class now. How to execute this class? Okay, so this is the class name, right? So can I use non-static method also same thing? So can I use this method same like static? No. If you execute now, it will get error. See now line number 2. If you go to click OK, line number 2 we are getting error. What is the error? Non-static cannot be referenced from static constant, static context. Yeah, last time what example? Static method cannot be referenced as a non-static contest. Okay, so now how to execute the second example? You have to create a instance of the class. Instance of the class equal to new class name. Because of non-static method, we don't have capability to create a own memory space. That dynamically it will change the process. Because of, we are going to execute, right? We are going to execute. If you want to execute, you can execute, and we have to pass any data, or maybe if you want to return something, then you can execute by using this method. Means during the process, if you want to change any parameters or something, we can change for non-static method, but static method it is not possible. Okay, so now let's execute this class. It will execute now. I'm going to copy this one better. Execute non-static classes like this. Okay, right. Now execute now, save now. See how you know whether class is saved or not. See here, if something you can change. Suppose I'm going to add space. See the class name having star symbol here. Okay, if it is a star symbol, the class still not saved. It is a unsaved mode. Okay, first you have to save and then only you can execute. See now it is executed. If you go to account tab, so there is a two accounts are created. One is non-static account and static account record. Both the records are created successfully. See now this record is created. Static method This record is created non-static method. So this is how we can execute the non-static method by using Apex class. Okay. So what is non-static method? Non-static method, how to execute? So it is first you need to create instance of the class, instance of the object or class, and then we can execute. Okay, how to execute? So class name cls equal to, this is the syntax, new class name, and then here class dot method. This is how we can execute. But if it is a non-static method, simply class name dot method name. This is the example. Okay, here we have both example, static and non-static example. Okay, hope you clear. Now here let's see some limitations. Can you call non-static method? Can you execute this method inside the non-static method? So can I call this method simply here? Let's see whether it is possible or not. Save now. See, it is saved. We can call non-static method inside the non-static method. Let's execute now. So now I'm going to change account number 3. Now non-static account number 1 -1. Save now. Let's see whether it will execute or not. I'm going to call static method inside non-static method. So now I'm not going to execute this method. Whenever executing this method, first it will create non-static account, and then it will execute this method and it will create static account 3. Let's execute now. Only I'm going to execute highlighted. Why? Because I'm executing non-static method, execute highlighted. See, it is executing without any error. Go to account tab. See, it is created static account 3, non-static account 1. So means here, what is the usage here? So we can execute non-static, we can execute static method inside the non-static method. We can call static method inside the non-static method. Let's see reverse manner. Let's see reverse manner. Now I'm going to call this method inside here. Now I'm going to make it account is 4 and here account equal to 2. Let's save now whether it is possible or not. See, it is not possible. Let's see. Here non-static method cannot be referenced as a static context. Okay, it is not possible. Maybe. Now let's see, we are going to create instance of the class. It will allow or not. Class equal to new class. Now we can create a class dot here. Save now. Just simply save. See, it is saved. Okay, so means we can execute class, you can execute static method inside the non-static method. We have to call directly method like this, or we can call non-static method inside the static method, but you have to create instance of the class. Okay, so now control E, execute now. Which method I want to execute now? Now I want to execute static method. So just highlighted this code, click on execute highlighted. See, it is highlighted executed successfully. If you click on here, see, non-static account 2, static account 4 is created successfully. So these are the ways we can execute. Sometimes real time people are calling the method from one method to another method like this. Okay, this one. Save now. Now I'm going to comment these 2 lines. How to comment multiple lines means, see, single line we can use for double slash. If you want to comment multiple lines, simply 1/* and we can execute like this. Again add star. Like this we can execute multiple lines. Okay, here also if you single line, right, we can like. If you want to comment multiple lines like this, we can add /* and end of the class where you are commenting the line, end of the line you can comment like this. So we can comment at a time multiple lines as well. Or if you want to comment only single line, then we can add double lines. Okay, so this is how we can call static method inside non-static method, and also non-static method we can call inside static method. Okay, hope you clear what is static and non-static method, how many ways we can execute, how to execute static method, and so what are the limitations we have. Clear now? Any questions? You can practice whatever there in my notes. No need to require any assignments here. Okay, right. Enough for today, or do you want me to continue? I will give just the basics of collections, and then we'll continue tomorrow. See, generally, why go for the collections? Why go for the collections? Means, before going to discuss, so collection is nothing but a data type. It is also data types only. It is also data types only. Collections are having three types. Okay, three types. Before going to discuss the types of collections, why go for the collections? Why means, see, suppose I have a names. I have a names. The name is Ramu, Praveen, Krishna. So there are three names we have. I want to store these three variables in one variable. One variable. Is it possible? Suppose I'm going to define string name equal to Ramu, comma, Praveen. Like this, can I say? No. Can I say like this? Can I say like this? No, it's not possible. Whenever you are declaring string name equal to Ramu, then we can save up to only one value only. That it is allowing similar data type. Okay. And similar data type values, we can allow only one value when you are declaring string. How to store these variables? Name 1, name 2, name 3. We have to create three variables to store these three numbers into three names into three different variables. But that is not a requirement. I want to save these all three values in one variable. How to save? As per primitive data type, whatever we defined instead string name equal to Ramu, we can store this name variable at a time only one value. If you want to save more than one value into the name, then what we need to do? So this is the wrong. This is the wrong. How to save? Then we have to use for collections. So name itself is there. Collections, it will hold more than one value. If we want to save more than one record or more than one value into the same variable, then go for the collections. Okay, collections are nothing but it is collecting of similar variable, means similar data type, or all our strings, all our integers, or maybe different kind of data type also we can store into the single variable. Okay, so that how we are going to save more than one variable inside the list or inside the collections, and what type of collections we have, how to define the collections, that will continue on tomorrow. Okay, hope you clear why go for the collections. So this is the limitation we have. So in this limitation, at a time, this name variable we can store either Ramu or Praveen or Krishna. But as per the requirement, I want to save this Ramu, Praveen, Krishna into the single variable. It's not possible. So that is the reason. Because of this limitation, we can go with the collections. We can store in single variable for multiple values. Either it is a similar data type or different data types. That we'll discuss by tomorrow. Okay, clear team. Hmm? So collections are very important, so don't miss this class, because of most of the time in real time we are using for collections only while getting the data. Because of, see, whenever you write the code, so you are going to write the code by bulky file manner, right? Bulky file manner means you are fetching more than one record. So how to store more than one record in single variable or list variable or something, that we are going to use for collections. So up to now, whatever we discussed up to now, this is basic fundamentals. But whatever we are going to start from today, collections, SOQL queries, DML statement. These three concepts we are using for all the classes, all the code. Wherever you are writing the code, these three are must. At least either you are using for collections or DML statements or SOQL queries. Without these three things, we are not going to write any code, because of that is how we'll get requirements in real time. So these three concepts are very, very important. Please don't miss these classes. Okay, right. Basic things are very important thing. So constructor we discussed. Next, what we discussed, and static and non-static method. Right. Mustafa is joined. I think is Mustafa. Yesterday you
Yes,
mentioned
sir, I'm
one
joining.
class is not distributed, right? So
Yes,
maybe
sir.
that.
Yes, I will check the mistakes and advise the letter, sir.
Yeah. Because of I checked in screenshot clearly, the class is
Okay.
not saved actually. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay, sir.
once class is saved, then only we can check. So how we are identified, right? See, suppose if you modify something, it will class is
Okay.
not, it is not a saved mode. See here, star symbol is available here. Okay. So if it is a star symbol is available, the class is not saved. Once you click on control yes, then only it is saved. See, now it is saving. The star symbol is removed, means this saved without any error. If you have any error, it will show error here. First you have to resolve the error and check whether class is saved or not before executing the class. Before click on execute button, check whether class is saved or not. I think that is what your
Okay.
error. Everything is correct only. Right.